Welcome to the Connection Compass podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Louise Evans. This week is a short, snappy solo episode talking about all what I've been up to recently, being a podcast guest, attending the Will Manifest Festival in Cheshire, putting myself forward for guest speaking and the development of the work of the Connection Compass framework. Hello everyone, it's Andrea here. I'm here with another solo episode on the Connection Compass podcast, and I have to tell you, I am recording this quite late. It's the day before the episode goes out, and it's about 25 to 11. I've had such a busy evening. And, I tried to record this afternoon. I had a couple of hours of work and I just couldn't do it at all. It just wouldn't flow. So I'm a little bit cooler and hopefully I will be able to finish the episode so it's ready to go out in the morning. So the reason why I wanted to do a solo episode this week was to tell you about the week I had last week, the things that I've been up to, going to Will Manifest, which was really interesting. I didn't think I'd like, but a little bit more about that later. And also, I wanted to do an introduction leading up to the next podcast episode. So, going back. So, last week I had a really big week and I recorded my first podcast guest episode. So, that's just really exciting. I wanted to do it for so long, but the plan was always to get a significant number of podcast episodes on my own podcast before I started going on someone else's. And I think that delay has paid off, not only because it's given me space and time to focus on my own podcast, but also to finalize the work of the Human-Led Impact Project and the Connection Compass framework. So I am going on, I think the episode goes out the middle of August and it's on a podcast whose host is called Jackie Cowie and she is the guest on the Connection Compass podcast next week. And her podcast is Cells Soul Source. So I really enjoyed the experience. I mean, I was nervous, but I loved chatting as I always do. And it was great to do that with Jackie because we're very similar in our journeys and the work that we've created. The other big thing that I did was I put myself forward for 2 speaking guest opportunities as well that would take place next year. So I feel like I'm taking some really big steps and cementing the future really if they come up, and there'll be others. I think I really got into the mindset of, am I holding back here? I come across something and I sit there, should I do this? Should I not? And then I just think, just stop procrastinating and just do it and see what happens. The other really, really, really big thing that happened was for the first time in 10 years, I was able to present the work of the Connection Compass framework in its entirety. This is absolutely huge for me because I haven't been able to do it before. Because to bring this work forwards, I've had to live the work, and so sometimes I haven't always understand it. And even when I look back at the first Connection Compass podcast episodes when I was talking about the Connection Compass framework. I mean, oh my word, it has developed so much since then. And I will do an episode on this in a couple of weeks. But it's blown me down, really. It's enormous, and I can't believe that this is something that I've created and I've brought out into the world. And I think when I look back at when this first started, that first spark was 2017 when I was in a workshop with those managers, and the managers talking about their fears and their worries, and just recognizing that we were not holding space for human need, that as humans we needed so much more. And I suppose as the work grew, it started to connect with other areas. So it stopped just being about the workplace, but it started to be about our relationships and the environments that we live and work in, and how we think and feel about ourselves and each other. And then it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And a lot of time has been spent in the unknown, and that unknown has been really uncomfortable at times, but it's something that we've got used to. And I suppose that all we ever have is now. And when we start these projects and businesses, we never truly know how it's going to work out. And I think when we're faced with those obstacles and things feel really hard, there's this temptation to give up if you truly believe in what you're doing and yourself, and developing that trust and faith in yourself. Something good will come of it. Sometimes we just have to take our time, and sometimes it's about our own obstacles. And it's only in the past couple of weeks that things have really started to align and dots have started to connect in relation to the Connection Compass framework. And the framework itself brings the human-led impact project to life. So when I do another solo episode, I'll go into all this and explain it in a little bit more detail. And also in the autumn, I will hold some webinars so that people can come and listen to how this work developed over the past 10 years. But I was in a coaching session a few weeks ago. In fact, it was the Thursday before my birthday, the day before my birthday, and I just felt low. I felt really confused, and I knew I had something, and still things wouldn't move forwards. And I just had this feeling. I woke up that morning feeling like I was sat in treacle, and my arms felt heavy, my legs felt heavy. And anyway, I went along to the coaching session and we're chatting, and I started to cry. And I didn't mean to cry, but it just overtook me. And I was feeling angry and upset how long this had taken me, the time, the energy, the finances. And I knew that it needed to be something, but it just wasn't connecting. The dots weren't connecting, and I had nowhere to go. I was really, really stuck. I was also upset because I was thinking, why am I crying the day before my birthday? I don't want to cry. I don't want to be upset for my birthday. But I got the support that I needed in that session. And I think it was just about being heard and saying, look, I've been carrying this for 10 years. I've carried it pretty much by myself. I know it's meant to be something, but at the moment it's just too heavy. It's just too heavy for me, and it feels a lot. It feels overwhelming. And the group listened and they said to me, "But how are you being supported? Like, for example, how are you looking after yourself?" And I realized that actually I'd just been pushing forward. It, it was like I couldn't leave it alone. It was like, if I just do this bit, then it'll push forward. If I just do that bit, it'll push, it'll move things along. But actually, that didn't work. And I was just hitting brick walls. And I thought, you know what? They're right. I keep saying I'm going to do things like go and have a nice spa or go out for the day and really allow myself to relax. And I'm not allowing that to happen at all. And it's funny, isn't it? Because we had this conversation with Ashley Mondor earlier in the year about how instead of just taking action all the time and pushing forward, it was about learning to surrender. And I think surrendering and letting go and allowing things to unfold is very difficult in our modern world because we're so switched on, and it's so easy to tip out of balance. So you can try and rest and relax, but our minds start thinking turn over, and before you know it, we're writing, we're doing blogs, we're connecting this bit to that bit, and before we know it, we feel overwhelmed. And so what I did was the following day, obviously it was a Friday, it was a work day, so everyone was at work. So I just took myself off for a spa and I really relaxed and had a lovely massage and a really nice, just calming day for my birthday. I'm not a person that is wild around the festivities, whether it's birthday or Christmas. I just like to take it all in my stride, just really nice and quiet and calm and relaxed. And it was a really lovely day. Had good food and I felt nourished. But it made me realize how tired I was, and that weekend I could hardly move. But the weather was lovely. I was able to sit outside and spend some time with family. And then when I finally sat down and started just doing some doodles and mapping out the connection compass framework, all of a sudden it just connected in one go. I just saw this image of it all. It looked completely different. Things started to move around, things started to align. Instead of two compasses, it became concentric circles, and I can't believe how quickly it came together. And that's a real example, is that if we're pushing, if we're trying to force something to happen, that sometimes if we just step back away from it, accept where we are and just go and focus on something else for a while, it just all comes together. And it absolutely did, which is why I've been able to present this work. And I just, I don't know how I obviously I'm really proud of it and I'm really excited. And I think when people see what I've created, they'll be completely blown away. And it's all for the purpose of putting our humanity, our human selves first. That becomes first before anything else. And it's not just about being human, but the depth of our humanness as well. And that we make sure that we take all of it into account. And so the connection compass reflects that. And it's really exciting to see. And since that shift has happened, it's still developing, but I'm actually starting to enjoy it. I actually starting to feel really excited about it. And want to tell people about it, want to show people the diagrams. Whereas before in the past, because the work was still growing, I haven't really been able to do that. It's very difficult to tell the story as something that you don't truly understand. And this is work that I've had to live to bring it out into the world. And I think there's something there for everybody. So it is a holistic model. So we're working on the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, but there's something there for individuals to work on lots of different levels. Everybody has a choice. It's not a linear model, but then I think we can use part of it. We don't have to go that deep. We can use part of that for organizations who want to develop more connection, within the workplace as well. So yeah, it's really exciting and versatile, and it still takes me by surprise. Something new comes up, a new layer, new understanding, and yeah, I'm really excited. It feels good to be here after such a long, long time. And when we're in this unknown as well, we really have to dig deep into ourselves and find resilience within. And I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to give up over the past decade. Has it been worth it? I think so. Absolutely. I mean, it's been 10 years in the making, but really we're at a new foundation now and it feels like just beginning again. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. But if you're out there and you're working on a project yourself, or you've got a business and it just feels like you're working away, just hang in there and have faith and trust, not just in yourself, but your ideas, the world around you, and believe what you're doing. And I know it's a hard slog, but it'll come good. It really will. And so that's really what I wanted to say. I think the final thing leading up to next week's podcast episode with Jackie Cowie, when Jackie and I first met. So Jackie is the podcaster who I met through Candace Dudley's matchmaking podcast community. Remember, Candace was on the episode a few weeks ago. And we really connected, Jackie and I, in the fact that we've had a very similar journey. We've had similar experiences where we've been working on projects for a long time. And to bring that project to life, we really had to go in deep. It's almost like a withdrawal from the world. And in that space, we really had to sit and listen to ourselves. We've really had to be honest about our feelings, our thoughts, how we are moving through the world. We've had to really dig deep and find trust and faith in ourselves to the point where we've become immovable. And it's funny how we've met at this time when we're starting to move out into the world with the pieces of work that we have created. But having that inward time, that time to ourselves to work through things and really listen, it's almost like taking yourself on a pilgrim, or taking yourself away to a cave and sit and think for 40 days, only it's been a lot longer. To find that resilience and hold space for ourselves so that as we move out into the world and bring our pieces of work into the world, that we are in a good, strong place, that we've got strong foundations to be able to hold space for others. And so it's an amazing episode next week. It's quite a long episode as well. I think you will really enjoy it and you'll get a lot out of the episode and listen to how these pieces of work have come together and what we found within this deepness. It might help you too, because some of you who are listening out there might be working on long-term projects as well that you know is going to make a difference in the world and really help others and our world to be a better place for everyone. I nearly forgot to tell you that last weekend I went to the Womanifest festival in Cheshire. I'd never been to it before, but obviously quite a few people who were speaking that day over the weekend had been on the podcast, and so I went to go and see them speak. I had a great time, and I really enjoyed it. It's got a really nice atmosphere, and I got to listen to some really lovely speakers and some potential new podcasting guests as well. Wherever I go, I always like to talk to people and find out their stories and see if they're interested in coming on the podcast. And I just chilled out. It was just really nice. My favorite moments were sat just by the lakeside, just chilling and having a nice drink. And it was great to just be out in the fresh air, and it stopped me from working as well. It made me have a proper break. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Connection Compass podcast. If you think this episode will help someone else, please leave a review, and remember to keep talking, keep connecting for a more interconnected world. Take care. See you next time.